Hello, this is Ryan Hughes from the Pix4D training team. In this video, we will learn how to process a Pix4D survey project using the Processes menu. The basic processing workflow will allow you to remove outlying points, classify your point cloud into terrain and non-terrain, create one or more grids of points, and generate a tin surface and contour lines. Once you have a Pix4Dsurvey project open, navigate to the Processes menu. If you do not know how to create and open a Pix4Dsurvey project, please watch the first video in this series. Depending on your version of Pix4Dsurvey, the menu can be found in the interface's top right corner or on the left side. We can open the Processes menu by clicking on the icon. Once selected, you will have 5 processes to choose from. You should work in sequential order from top to bottom when using these processes, as each processed output is used as an input for the following process. The first step is to run the distant outlier filter. Depending on your project, the distant outlier filter detects and recycles points isolated from the main scene in the point cloud or point clouds. Click Detect and Delete Outliers to run the process. This process is optional to use the other processing tools, but it can help reduce noise that may not be visible but can significantly impact later processing steps. Once your outliers have been removed, the next step is to run the terrain filter to separate the terrain and non-terrain points. This automatically assigns the points in the point cloud into terrain and non-terrain classifications based on your identified parameters. I have the default parameters selected for this project. However, these settings can be modified to classify the terrain in your project more accurately. The parameters you choose will depend on the topography and complexity of the scene, as well as the goal of the project. If you are interested only in working with ASPRS classifications, it is optional to run the terrain filter. Once we have selected our parameters, we will click Filter Terrain. Now that our terrain and non-terrain points have been classified, we will continue down the list, selecting the Grid of Points process. The Grid of Points uses your previously classified terrain and non-terrain points or your classified ASPRS classifications to create a defined grid spacing that automates the creation of spot elevations. This step is necessary if you want to create a tin surface. Several options can be modified for this process, including the inputs and the grid type. For this video, we will leave the settings on default and click Make Grid. To learn more about the different parameters, please see the Pix4D support knowledge base. Next, we will generate a tin. A tin in Pix4Dsurvey is the equivalent of a digital terrain model. The tin process will generate a continuous surface represented by your terrain classified grid or grids of points. Once we have selected the desired grid of points, we will click Generate Tin. It is possible to use multiple grids of points if they have been generated in the project. The final processing step is to generate a set of contour lines. Select Contour Lines in the Processes menu. Contour lines represent a set of lines that join points of equal elevation across your project's data at a defined interval that you have chosen. The interval between these elevations can be modified, as can the length of the shortest loops we want in our project. Once we have set the parameters, we will click Generate Contour Lines. If unsatisfied with the contour lines, we can modify the parameters and regenerate the lines. If the contour lines are highly problematic, then modifying either the tin or the grid of points might be necessary to represent your area of interest more accurately. Information buttons are included for further information on each processing step to learn more about the different parameter options. We hope this tutorial was helpful, and we will see you in the next lesson.